Hello, and thank you. This video is about two Columbia professors named Richard Cloward and Francis Fox Piven. They wrote an article called The Cloward Piven Strategy. The Cloward Piven strategy is a political strategy outlined in 1966, almost 50 years ago. This strategy called for overloading the United States public welfare system in order to precipitate a crisis that would lead to a replacement of the welfare system with a national system of a guaranteed annual income and thus, an end to poverty. Cloward and Piven were a married couple who were both professors at the Columbia University School of Social Work. The strategy was formulated in a May 1966 article in the liberal magazine, The Nation, titled The Weight of the Poor, a Strategy to End Poverty. Cloward and Piven's article is focused on forcing the Democratic Party, which in 1966 controlled the presidency and both houses of the United States Congress, to take federal action to help the poor. They stated that full enrollment of those eligible for welfare would produce bureaucratic disruption in welfare agencies and fiscal disruption in local and state governments that would deepen existing divisions among elements in the big city, Democrat coalition, the remaining white middle class, the working class ethnic groups and the growing minority poor. To avoid further weakening of that historic coalition, a national Democratic administration would be constrained to advance a federal solution to poverty that would override local welfare failures, local class and racial conflicts and local revenue dilemmas. They wrote, the ultimate objective of this strategy, to wipe out poverty by establishing a guaranteed annual income, will be questioned by some. Because the ideal of individual social and economic mobility has deep roots, even activists seem reluctant to call for national programs to eliminate poverty by the outright redistribution of income. Michael Reich and Janice Andrews wrote that Cloward and Piven proposed to create a crisis in the current welfare system, by exploiting the gap between welfare law and practice, that would ultimately bring about its collapse and replace it with a system of guaranteed annual income. They hoped to accomplish this end by informing the poor of their rights to welfare assistance, encouraging them to apply for benefits and, in effect, overloading an already overburdened bureaucracy. Howard Phillips, chairman of the Conservative Caucus, was quoted in 1982 as saying that the strategy could be effective because Great Society programs had created a vast army of full-time liberal activists whose salaries are paid from the taxes of conservative working people. Liberal commentator Michael Tomasky, writing about the strategy in the 1990s and again in 2011, called it wrong-headed and self-defeating, writing, it apparently didn't occur to Cloward and Piven that the system would just regard rabble-rousing black people as a phenomenon to be ignored. Cloward and Piven themselves, in papers published in 1971 and 1977, argued that mass unrest in the United States, especially between 1964 and 1969, did lead to a massive expansion of welfare rolls, though not to the guaranteed annual income program that they had hoped for. In his 2006 book Winning the Race, political commentator John McWhorter attributed the rise in the welfare state after the 1960s to the Cloward-Piven strategy, but wrote about it negatively, stating that the strategy created generations of black people for whom working for a living is an abstraction. Conservative commentator Glenn Beck referred to the Cloward-Piven strategy often on his Fox News show during its run from 2009 through 2011, reiterating his opinion that it had helped to inspire President Obama's economic policy. On February 18, 2010, for example, Beck said, "You've got a total destruction of wealth coming, it's the final phase of the Cloward-Piven strategy, which is collapse of the system." All the information provided here was obtained by doing an internet search with the words, Cloward-Piven strategy. I chose the Wikipedia website. There is much more information on this site, just too much to put in this video. Don't let anyone bully you out of your opinion. If you are a Democrat, and you believe none of this has already happened, don't let anyone bully you out of your opinion. If you believe that this is exactly what did happen, don't let anyone bully you out of that opinion either. Thank you for listening, and good night.